The reality is that's a huge issue, because if if I don't get a fighting chance to talk to these employees and sell my culture, I'm already dead in the water. I've got to be able to get a fighting chance to sell who we are, to talk about who we are. So your ability to attract with, that's your first chance to get them, to get them in. People will come to work for a paycheck, but that is not why they stay. You'll get them in the door initially because of that paycheck, but that will not keep them. Why do people stay? It's all these other things. It's our relationship with our coworkers, our superiors. It's, do we feel included? Do we feel like we fit in? Do we feel like we have a voice? It's a big list of other things, but too many people focus on the pay and the monetary side of total rewards. And the monetary side of total rewards in human resource management is quite honestly insignificant when it comes to employee attraction and retention. The bulk of that retention side is the non-monetary benefits under total rewards, the intrinsic values and the extrinsic values that people feel at the workplace. That's the big driver. This particular gentleman posted a job, 354 people applied. He tried to, in the world we live in, he tried to call 165 of them for interviews because he knew overcall, overschedule, because he expected fallout. And so out of 165, he tried to get in for an interview. I think ultimately he said his numbers, he got 11 people to come in for the interview. We went down the road of who's out there, who's applying for these, and breaking down, if they're this particular demographic, what is the way that might get a response. And on his own, and this is one of my favorite things, as I teach, I learn. I'm learning just as much as I impart with our folks. And I didn't see this coming, but it made perfect sense. He said, as part of my project, when I did that second job posting, I thought, well, we're talking about these generations like to communicate different, so why don't I try to text them instead of calling and leaving a voicemail? And his response rate went through the roof. True high performance comes from feeling connected. And so when I shifted that approach with my temps, they showed up and went through the same training as a full-time employee. They started feeling like they fit in. And the success story in my experience was I had a lot of temps who turned into fabulous long-term full-time employees. And before I made that change on the way we trained them and helped them fit in, I was probably like everyone else. I thought 99% of temps wouldn't work out, and 99% of them didn't. What I realize is a huge chunk of that was my fault by the way we brought them in and treated them. They were never going to try. They were never going to fit in. They were never going to give us their best. Give them a fighting chance. Make them feel like they're part of the team. And I was surprised at how many great employees we got. One of the I refer to these as the old school tough guy talks I was given, that I learned to throw straight in the trash where it belongs. You don't have to like the people you work with. You just have to do your job. So that might be the myth we bust, because the reality is this: if I don't like everyone I work with, and it's just, think about how much of your life is spent at work. And if you do not enjoy, in fact, if you dislike the people you work with, is that going to make you miserable while you're at work? For sure. To some degree, we're all human beings. And if I have a huge chunk of my life at work and that huge chunk is predominantly spent being miserable, what could that do to my total overall quality of life? And a lot of us reject that and say, no, I have higher expectations. So that might be the myth we go for.